Hello, and thank you for watching this ag forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, the sun is coming up here on this Monday morning. We're starting off a new week, and we've got a lot of cloud cover making its way across the prairie, especially across portions of Alberta and then pushing into central and southern portions of Saskatchewan. But even where we don't have clouds across the prairie, it probably doesn't look like a sunny day because we have a thick plume of wildfire smoke coming from these fires burning across the western U.S., being advected here across the prairie, riding the polar jet stream, and then diving down here into the Midwest. So even seeing it down here across central Illinois, where I'm recording this video, where I live, the sunrise here was muted by the wildfire smoke. So the impacts here across the prairie over the next few days could be intense in some locations. We're talking about air quality issues. We're talking again about the sky cover impact with, some folks seeing clouds today, but again, even where it is, allegedly sunny today, I'm willing to bet it doesn't look anything like it looked like on Friday morning with those big blue skies across the prairie. No, anyone who's seeing sunshine today across the Canadian prairie is probably seeing a very muted, hazy, milky sky. And then as we get towards sunset, the sunset and the sunrise could be a little extra red from the smoke within the atmosphere there. So this is a big story here over the next couple of days. Again, air quality issues and the sky cover issues here with some of the very dense wildfire smoke moving in across the prairie. Now, we're not going to be talking about much in the way of precipitation across the prairie today or for much of the week. We've got some showers falling across Grand Prairie, perhaps back into the Peace River area and then into northern portions of British Columbia. But the ag belt here along and south of Highway 16, nothing going on right now, and it's going to be a quiet next 5 days or so in terms of precipitation. Now, we're a little cooler than average in some spots here this morning, and then really close to average in others as we talk about temperatures generally in the mid to upper single digits this morning. We've got cooler air coming in on the backside of this trough, this wave that's departing right now. We've got another wave across northern Canada up toward the Arctic. That's going to be pivoting down here and dropping into the prairie, bringing another round of cold temperatures Wednesday and Thursday. I'll go ahead and hit play on this. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Again, this thing kind of just pivots around this little trough here. We're just going to kind of drag it in. It'll make a quick stop, a quick glancing blow by the prairie before continuing to kind of pivot around over towards the Hudson Bay by the time we get toward the end of the week. So what happens here is we get this reinforcing shot of cold air coming in on the backside of this wave here midweek. Wednesday into Thursday is going to be when we feel that. But then as this trough departs off to the east, we've got another low that's trying to make its way in here across the Pacific Northwest that's going to help kind of drive our heights up across the prairie, such that by the time we get to the middle part of the week, we're actually going to have some ridging here between the departing trough, the trough trying to make its way in across the Pacific Northwest. So we'll quickly warm things back up across the Canadian prairie as we head into the weekend and early next week. So as we look at the temperature anomaly forecast here, again, temperatures across the prairie, a little bit cooler than average in Manitoba, right about at average across southern Saskatchewan, southern Alberta. We'll go ahead and bring this back. We'll keep things right around average here as we head through the next 24 hours or so, but that next wave of cold air makes its way in here as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. But then the good news is here, it keeps on moving. It doesn't even stop as it makes its way out of here into the Great Lakes of the U.S., down into the Midwest by the time we get to the weekend. Then as we do that, so now I'll be feeling this cold air here as we get into the weekend, but by this time ridging, moving back into the prairie, you guys are on a warming trend here as we get into the weekend and early next week. So we'll take a zoomed in look here at the operational model, the operational European temperature forecast here, and again, we'll take it into this afternoon. Portions of southern Saskatchewan warming into the mid-20s. Elsewhere, you'll be in kind of the mid to upper teens. As we head into Tuesday afternoon, again, temperatures primarily in the mid-teens for most across the Canadian prairie. As you head down toward the U.S. border, you could start to find a 20-degree reading or some lower 20s. That cold front moves through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, though. So by the time we get to Wednesday morning, some portions of central Saskatchewan could be flirting with the freezing mark, if not dropping below that. That should be along and north of Highway 16. And then as we take it into Thursday morning, we're already starting to moderate this air mass just a bit across Alberta and southwestern Saskatchewan, but still portions of central, east central Saskatchewan, and maybe getting into central and southern Manitoba, flirting with the freezing mark once again. So we look at the probability here from the ensemble forecast, the European ensemble model. Along and north of Highway 16 in central portions of Saskatchewan, maybe flirting with a 40 or 50% chance of dropping below freezing on Wednesday morning, and then it's a little bit of a lower probability here on Thursday morning. Again, as we start to already kind of modify that air mass and warm it back up, as the cooler portion of that, the core of the coldest air, starts to move down across the U.S. border into the Great Lakes by the time we get to Thursday. So I think, again, central portions of Saskatchewan, you've got the best chance of a freeze here again. The highest probability is going to be Wednesday morning, but that's still a chance we could see some locations dropping below freezing all the way down into southwestern Manitoba as we get to Thursday morning. We can check back in with Thursday morning, of course, with our Wednesday morning Canadian Prairie forecast. Now, again, it's going to be a dry week as we talk about precipitation. We've got drier air across the region right now, and then as that next cold air mass makes its way in here, it's going to be accompanied by some very dry air again, moving out of the Arctic here. A very cold, dry air mass. You can see it just dropping down right here. Just a big punch of this cold, dry air. So again, Arctic air coming out of the north, not real conducive to heavy precipitation. So again, as we continue this pattern with cool, dry air being brought down out of the north, we continue to talk about a pattern that's not going to be bringing much in the way of precipitation to the prairie. Again, some very light precip across northern areas today. Very, very light showers, but even that gets out of here as we get into the overnight. As we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, Tuesday night into Wednesday, again, as this little Arctic front moves through, very light showers possibly accompanying that, just enough to kind of wet the pavement here, but no real measurable precipitation expected as this gets out of here, and we bring high pressure in as we end the week. So again, really no one looking to see much in the way of precipitation as we head through the next 4 to 5 days until you get north of Highway 16, where we could get this little corridor of some light precip where we're still talking about, a few millimeters north of Highway 16 here over the next 24 hours. Otherwise, a completely dry week here across the Canadian Prairie. So here are your temperatures. Calgary, you barely even feel this little wave of cold air coming in midweek. It's only going to really be felt here with your overnight lows, keeping those in the mid-single digits, but your afternoon high temperatures moderate back up to around 20 degrees by the time we get to Thursday and Friday. Edmonton, you'll drop down to 12 for the high on Tuesday, warming back up to the low 20s by the end of the week. Saskatoon, here comes the cold air on Wednesday. Look at that, a forecast overnight low in Saskatoon of -1 on Wednesday, so certainly seeing the potential for a freeze in the Saskatoon vicinity before warming back up into the low 20s for the afternoon highs this weekend. Regina, getting down to 2. Currently the forecast overnight lows Wednesday and Thursday, so currently not being forecast to see a freeze in Regina, but certainly going to be walking that line. We'll have to, just pay close attention here. It is on the table. Winnipeg dropping down to a low of 1. Thursday morning, 0 for the overnight low currently forecast on Friday. So Thursday and Friday morning, potentially talking about a frost in the Winnipeg area. So a cool shot of air midweek, warming back up as we head into the weekend, and dry conditions expected across the Canadian Prairie. I hope you have a great day, a wonderful start to your week, and I'll talk to you again on Wednesday morning.